just to fill you in on what it is that we're doing in NALA in terms of numeracy and how that might impact or inform the work that you do as numeracy tutors. Very quickly, I'm just going to take about 8 to 10 minutes. I'm going to run through the supports for teaching, learning and certification that NALA offers. And I just want to, you're probably familiar with this, but I just want to re-familiarise you with the resources that are available on the NALA website and from NALA. And also to talk to you a little bit about, as Pat mentioned, the working group on numeracy CPD that we've convened as a result of the research that we carried out in 2013, but I'll talk to you a little bit about that later. So very quickly I'll run through the resources with you. There are 5 primary resources and supports that are available to tutors. There are resources at writeon.ie, the Tutors Corner on nala.ie, WriteOn itself, and events including this numeracy event, but also family and ESOL seminars, the NALA and the NALA e-zine and the NALA magazine that you would get every 6 months, and also NALA membership and what the benefits that offers. I want to draw your attention first to the resources that are available on writeon.ie. Now, I'm not going to read through all of these with you because you can read through them yourself. I just want to draw your attention to one thing. I think it's maybe on the next slide, yeah. When myself and Daniel were doing the numeracy case studies research and the new research that I'm doing now on reading strategies, what I discovered when I was talking to tutors was there seems to be, and the tutors are indicating this, a lack of resources available to use with beginner learners or learners at level 1. And so a lot of tutors resort to self-help. They have to, so they would design their own worksheets or adapt books that they find and put them in a more local context for the learners. When we were doing the research on the reading strategies, I was talking to tutors and the ALO and Donegal ETB, and they had designed a workbook. It's a basic learner workbook for use with beginner learners. Now, you can avail of that from Donegal ETB. They obviously need to charge a small fee because it is an actual printed off bound workbook. And this works very well for them with beginner learners, but they also said that the learners like it as well because rather than give them individual worksheets, all their work is in one place and they can chart their own progression as they go along and they enjoy that. But when I went back to NALA with that workbook and I was looking at our resources online, a lot of the resources and more that are in the workbook are actually on the NALA resource page. But when we put those resources up, there was no FETAC level 1. Or QQY level 1. So they were all certified and categorised as level 2. So some of the resources on the resource page that are categorised as level 2 can actually be used with beginner learners. Now, it might take a little bit of just shifting through what's there to see what you want to use, but it's just to alert you to the fact that the resources are there and they're available to download for free from the NALA webpage. So that was something I just wanted to draw your attention to immediately. Again, there's the Tutor Corner on nala.ie and there's top tips there for teaching, as I said, reading, writing, spelling, maths, etc. There's also recommended websites, applications and worksheets and a professional development section. There's teamed literacy reports and you can get it all on your mobile. And that'll show you, that's just the Tutor Corner, a picture of the Tutor Corner on NALA's webpage. I'm sure most of you at this stage are familiar with www.writeon.ie, so I'm not going to go into any detail about that, except to encourage you to use it. And what some of the tutors that we talked to doing the research as well said was, while they may not do the full programme of WriteOn with their learners, they will print off individual pages or use individual pages and adapt them for use with their learners. So that's another resource that you can tap into there as well. There's also on the NALA webpage videos from all the conferences. This has been videoed this morning. Last year's numeracy conference, if any of you missed it, there's videos available from that as well. So if you're not in a position to attend a conference, there are videos that are available. There's also the NALA membership, and it's free membership for students, volunteer tutors and members of the public with an interest in literacy who want to support our work. Again, I'm not going to go through all of that. You can read that yourself. The individual membership is €25. So if you're not a member and you would like to be a member, I would encourage you to sign up, because we do need to get as many practitioners as possible to become members of the organisation. Help My Kid Learn is another website that's for use in family learning with parents, or parents themselves can just go online and have a look at what's available in terms of fun ideas to use to help their children learn. And this will be on your handout. There's a list of some recommended resources that are available as well. Now, what I want to talk to you in a little, not much detail this morning because we don't have a lot of time, but a little detail this morning is about the working group on CPD for numeracy tutors. And last year I launched this piece of research at this event. It's on the training needs of literacy tutors. And in that research, we said that we would be looking to convene an expert group to examine in detail the findings from the research to see what numeracy tutors were telling us about their training need. And at the end of last year, NALA looked to convene that group, and we invited providers in terms of employment and education and training to tutors to be part of that group. So the groups included are represented from the ETBI, SOLAS, NALA, the ALOA, WIT, Pat would be a member, and academic and numeracy experts. Daniel Sellers, for example, would be one of the numeracy experts on that group, and he'll be talking to you later this morning. The group had its first meeting in February, and at that meeting, we agreed in terms of reference for the work of the group. And again, this was based on the findings and the discussion from the research that we did in 2013. We agreed a working definition for the group for numeracy for the purpose of making recommendations based on the training needs as outlined in the research, because that's what prompted us to get this group together. The research that we published, if you're familiar with it, you will know, was a follow-on piece of research from over 10 years ago that Terry Maguire carried out in 2001 and published in 2003 as part of her PhD. And in that piece of research, Terry designed a model of accredited professional development for numeracy tutors. So what we're doing now in the group is looking at that model and looking at ways of adapting it, changing it, adding to it, to include any gaps or to fill any gaps that exist from the Maguire model, but also to look at the changing environment that tutors now work in, any policy changes, any practice changes. And that's what we're in the process of discussing and framing at the moment. And ultimately what we want to do is to develop a framework to be recommended as necessary for the professional development of tutors teaching numeracy to adults. And the last one is just to agree a plan to disseminate the findings from the group. At the moment, we're in the process of writing up a first draft of a framework, and that's as far as we've gotten with our work. There will be a process. We will look to have a process of consultation before we look to finalise and disseminate the work of the group, but that's a little bit further down the road. As of now, I just wanted to make you aware that there is a national working group. We are looking at the training needs of numeracy tutors, and we'll keep you informed of our work and how that develops as we go along.